Not not so much surprising, really. I think what we're finding is that that there's real traction in the industry now. We're seeing some phenomenal, rate of approvals of advanced therapies for commercial supply has really increased. And what we expect to see is now is over the next few years, we're looking at those presentations from the companies today, and what we're seeing is actually these pipelines are really coming into fruition, and we might see a tidal wave of advanced therapy approvals, BLA, MAAs in the next few years. Is really, really exciting. And I think that's sort of my sort of takeaway from the first few sessions of the conference at the moment, is the fact that there's great optimism in the industry. There's a real focus on those sort of meeting those unmet needs that patients have, and the real opportunity there now to convert those sort of promising clinical trial products into commercially supplied products, and that's fantastic. Yes, so just to give a little bit of context, what we do at TrakCel is we help companies manage these complex supply chains by providing software that really improves the efficiency of the supply chain, coordinates activities between disparate groups, and also helps to schedule activities, which is really important when using starting material that's fresh, because it has a potential risk of going past its shelf life. So the conversations we have are really about framing of providing our software for a whole raft of different types of companies with different types of therapies and at different stages of their development as well. And so what the advantage we have at TrakCel is, because our software Acellus is configurable, you can actually manage all those different types of needs, those different types of products, whether in early stage or potentially planning for a BLA or MAA. And so really the conversations we're having is sort of providing that first set of details we need to understand those supply chains, and really to work out what sort of orchestration system would suit them, whether we need to think about integrations with other sort of third-party service providers and other e-systems, whether they might just be using our software as a standalone package for their sort of early first into human studies. So it's really interesting, and the part that I enjoy most is sort of finding out about these new advanced therapies, because you think you know and you understand them, then a new one comes along and the science behind it is mind-blowing, and also the potential clinical effects of these products is mind-blowing too. You have to be sort of careful with AI, because the number of data points you need for AI to start making suitable decisions is relatively high. And for some of these products, you're dealing with sort of maybe thousands of patients at absolute maximum per year. And so that machine-based learning, that AI has a place. And I think what we're going to see over the next few years is the ability to aggregate data. And something we're considering is how we can pull data from different types of advanced therapies and actually look at the best supply models, look at the best supply chains, and really sort of start to drill down on that data and understand supply paradigms that will work and based on different variables. And I think realistically, because the data points are relatively small from a product by product basis, I think the way to address that would be to find a way to aggregate that data. So that's something we're considering doing at TrakCel. But then it is quite challenging on a product by product basis to implement AI. It's not necessarily a challenge per se. I think the approach you need to take is the challenge, because ideally what we'd like to do is to aggregate data from different companies, and potentially these might be competing companies. But what we've seen in our sort of advisory boards is that with the correct anonymization and the correct approach to managing that data, if we can build a data pool where each of those companies that are contributing their own supply chain information, and then use the full data pool with other data sources. There is a genuine excitement around that, and a genuine sort of a collaborative spirit to really improve their own supply chains by looking at everyone else's, albeit in an anonymized way. So certainly from a data perspective, it's just a case of getting that those collaboration agreements in place that we can allow data to be pooled and then examined in a large amount. And then from TrakCel, the changes that we're sort of really initiating and facilitating in the industry, we're thinking about how we can try and standardize certain aspects of an advanced therapy supply chain. What we are seeing now is that as more and more of these advanced therapies are coming to the market, there's a sort of it's called portal fatigue, which basically different physicians and nurses are having to use different types of platforms in order to manage these advanced therapies. So at TrakCel, we're trying to think how we can address that portal fatigue, how we can make it as simple and as easy as possible to order an advanced therapy and to manage an advanced therapy. So that's something we're driving in the industry. We've very much simplified our hospital-facing user interface, so that very, very simply, if you haven't used the platform within a few months, you can log into the system and it's patently obvious what you need to do in order to manage your patients. And those are the little subtle changes that I think as an industry we need to do just to make it as easy as possible for those physicians to manage and administer these products. At these events, I will give an outline of the importance of orchestration and what it means to manage these advanced therapies. But this year I've taken a slightly different tact, because I think that message is there in the industry now. It's fairly well understood that you need some sort of electronic system to manage your supply chains in order to move through to commercial approval. So what I've done this year is I'm speaking on actually the pitfalls and the successes of implementing orchestration systems, actually sort of talking a little bit about the detail of what you need to focus on, the types of specifications you need to build, the type of people you need involved in these projects, and also the way in which you might prioritize certain features and functions in your orchestration system. So really it's a sort of a call to arms to the industry that these are the things you need to start thinking about as a group, as a developer, before you start implementing an orchestration system, and also while you're implementing an orchestration system too. Fantastic. I think what I love about the advanced therapy industry is that because everyone has a vested interest in everyone else's success, there's a overwhelming spirit of collaboration. So we have, I'm catching up with people that I haven't seen for 4 or 5 years, people, that they're colleagues, collaborators, but friends as well. So the opportunity just to see these people in 3 dimensions is absolutely fantastic. And it's just such a joy to walk through the conference hall and take an hour to walk from one end to the other, because you're just bumping into people that you haven't seen for 3 or 4 years. And that's just such a joy. It's so nice to be sort of away from the shackles of COVID.